Donny.
Very handsome.
The Don. The Donster. Donald.
How are you?
Very good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
So good to see you.
You too. You look great.
Thank you. I don't know if you noticed, but
Lost a bit of hair.
I've been a little inspired.
Yeah.
You could say you're a bit of a trendsetter.
I hope so.
Yeah?
Well, you know, I try.
Does this happen a lot?
Yeah, all the time.
Oh, yeah?
It's nothing new.
But, I apologise. I don't know if you've noticed at this point, but this is, in fact, a wig.
Is that a special... Is it a special Donny wig or...
Yeah,
do they
actually...
sell these?
Yeah, if you Google Donny wig...
So somebody's not paying me money in the Netherlands for this?
Essentially, yeah. Well, it's not even the Netherlands, actually. I had to have it imported.
Oh, really?
Yeah, even though your presence in the Netherlands is ever increasing, I'd say that the wigs themselves are made in torrid circumstances, in fact. Factories where they're not treated very well at all.
Yeah.
I imagine if they were official Donny wigs...
Yeah, they'd be made in Tasmania or something like that.
Tasmania.
Yeah.
Offshoring. Yeah. So, Donny, how are you?
Very well, thank you. Very well.
Good.
Yes.
And you're back in the Netherlands so soon as well.
Yeah, third time.
Third time, yeah.
time.
But it was only the summer that you came out last time.
And then I came in September and now, so...
And you are ridiculously popular now in Europe. I mean, I have to say, every time I've been to one of your shows, the reactions seem to be building and building.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll take it.
Yeah, well, obviously you just do what you do, but yeah.
It's great.
This tour is mostly sold out, right?
Everything sold out except for Berlin was a little naughty. They didn't quite... The Germans didn't come aboard, but yeah, everything else was...
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's like for Australia, coming from Australia, it's like, I don't know what to say.
Well, this says it all, really, the ticket sales.
Yeah.
So in terms of this particular tour, obviously the Doorn is your latest album, which to me feels like a giant leap in terms of production quality, in terms of what's happened there. I mean, what is it? Because I know that in past you've had, I almost felt like some of your drum samples in the second album were very Prince, early Prince influenced. But this new production is like Quincy Jones level.
Yeah, it's like, the old ones, it's quite ironic because this particular album, a few years ago, I'd taken possession of a very particular drum machine that Prince used. There's only 500 in existence ever. Really? Yeah, and it's really nerdy. Prince came out and played in Australia a few years ago, but obviously a long time ago. And I was like, this is it. I've got to find one. And I joined a Yahoo chat group.
Yahoo chat group.
This is how deep I went into the internet, like almost deep web. Yeah, and said, hey, I'd like to buy this particular drum machine. And within an hour, 3 people got back to me. And then when I went, okay, let's do it. Nobody would sell it, so I had to sell. Finally, the guy I got mine off. I sent him my music. I said, look, because most of the people that own them would have all the Prince patterns programmed into them. Right. They'd have a glass of wine and press play like once every 6 months, and that was it. Right. And I was like, this is what I do. I'm going to use it. And I got it, and it sounds like Prince. And then the next level, I actually got a really great friend of mine, this producer, Burke Reed, who's produced and mixed and mastered and recorded so many great Australian albums of late. Yeah. And I gave it to him, and he made it sound like $1 million. So, it was definitely a big step up.
So the Prince drum machine features on the Doorn as well?
It sure does, yeah. And it was used on, it's basically like, so it's very nerdy. It's called the Lin LM1 drum machine, and it's basically used on every European or Italo disco. It's used on ABBA. Like any time you hear, it's very nerdy because I can hear a song and go, that's the drum machine. Wow. And so it's used on like synonymous with every kind of every recording in pop music from years 1981 to 1983. Yeah. So whenever I go searching through Spotify for some music, I always look for like the album 1983, 82, 84. I'm like, that's the sound, perfect. Wow. So it's like, it's a really like recognizable thing. And when you're saying it reminds you of Quincy Jones, it's like, it's the drum machine on Thriller as well. So. Right.
This drum machine's been everywhere. It's amazing there's only 500.
Well, I think they cost about $7,000 US back in 1982, which was like the price of a sports car. So right. I think like Stevie Wonder, all the top guys own them. So I actually don't know who owned my one. But
Oh, I see what you mean. It's so limited that
only the guys had the top producers, studios.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So do you? I mean, when you are writing and producing a new album and new material, are you specifically looking for a particular avenue of an old place, or are you just taking inspiration from
it was a bit of both actually. Like a lot of times songs write themselves, and when that happens, when you're merely a vessel to kind of you're just pressing buttons, like you're playing an instrument and you're not in control of it. So for me actually, when I wrote Konnichiwa, I bought this new bass guitar, and it's the same one that's used by Bernardo Chic and Lewis Johnson, who plays on all the Michael Jackson recordings. And just pulled it out, pretended to be both those guys.
Right. And
then this bass line came out, I was like, well, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I recorded it all in about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So sometimes that happens, and you're just like, you just go with it.
Are you a spiritual man, Donny? Do you think that maybe this part of their souls are actually carried through the instrument?
No, I think it's just dumb luck sometimes with music. I think with anything. Like sometimes, I mean, there's work behind it. There's obviously work where you've researched and listened to music, and it's inside you, and then it becomes like a second nature.
Right.
And then that's when it becomes the dumb luck thing of like when you're playing music, you achieve this like Zen-like status of when you're not thinking about it, and it just happens. You can almost step out of your body and go like, this looks really fun.
Right.
So, but that happens. Then I had another great friend of mine who was a really great DJ, and he wanted me to start DJing.
Yeah.
And he's like, don't be so snobby, just go and DJ. So I went out and I just played tracks that I really liked. So I played I'd watch people's reaction to them on the dance floor, and then also I paid a lot of attention to the tempos. So a few of my songs, I can give a few hints. Working Out is my
120, 125.
It's Falco de Commissar. You know that song?
Yeah.
So that's the tempo.
You've literally taken the tempo.
It's not.
No, I don't mean I say taking the tempo. I mean tempos are
No, and it's like I was like this tempo really well. And then for Santorini, it's La Dolce Vita by Brian Paris. Sorry.
Okay.
And so it's a few of those tracks. I'm like, and then they have a particular feel to them. I'm like, and that's DJing kind of taught me that, like pay attention to tempos. Before I just put something, and then this time I'd spend a lot of time. 121, 123, 119, I'm like, that's the one. Yeah. So this album for me, before I'd kind of, especially my first album was this thing that happened, this beautiful, I call it a beautiful accident, and it was pretty much all improvised. It was all one take, and it just...
Really?
It was just this thing of, I had no idea how to really use Pro Tools or anything. I just, and it just happened. I went, yeah, that'll do. It was a very improvised, rough thing, and it has that particular charm to it. I was listening to a lot of Ariel Pink and John Mouse.
I can hear that actually.
During that time. So for me, that was like that album. Yeah. And then the next few ones, I kind of... And the first album, I had like a Fender Rhodes, and I borrowed someone's Juno 106 for a couple of days.
Yeah.
And then the next few albums, I started to buy synths, and they're okay. Yeah. And then this last one, I wrote for the Doorn, I wrote about 35 to 40 songs. And I'd go away, and I took a lot longer to write them. And I would go away, go on a little holiday, listen to the tracks or not listen to them and come back. And there was so many tracks I just dragged out of the folder and put into the no pile.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to kind of write 8 tracks that I could all potentially be singles. And I think they potentially stand on themselves. So I was really happy I was that analytical and strict with myself. When doing this album, and it to fit on a there's only 8 tracks, but it fits obviously on a LP, and there's an instrumental I just released.
Beneath the Sheets,
yes, very well researched, and another song, and Melody, which is another song I would have liked to put on, but it just I couldn't find space for it.
I was wondering, because both of those they do not sound like outtakes. Either of those.
No, I really wanted to put Melody on,
right?
But I didn't know which. It was like.
Well, the body of work is more important sometimes in the
I think so, which is so funny now with streaming, because it's like...
Yeah.
I released Working Out and Konnichiwa, my DJ friend, who I was very grateful for, said, just take your time releasing it. So we released Working Out as a 12-inch, and we did a 12-inch maxi extended version. We did a remix, and then we did the instrumental. So we did like an old record.
Yeah.
And we were going towards more. He was like, the tracks will be more dance DJ orientated.
Right.
And it's funny because I think more people have actually listened to the album. I thought they would just pick one or two songs like they usually do, but it's been the exact opposite. And even with we keep on running out of LPs.
Yeah.
So I need to get my record label to print more.
That's a great position to be in.
Yeah, it's really cool. So it's like, it seems to be, and at every show I've done, either DJs come up, or record shop guys, owners have come up saying, how can I buy it? I'm like, there's... At the moment, I've got 80 stuck. They just got released from French Customs yesterday. So.
Oh. Okay, dangerous goods.
Yeah, so they're now like sitting somewhere and they're just going to increase in value now.
Right.
But so I've always been fascinated by synthesizers, being a piano player, but and they're always so hard to get, it seemed, in Australia. And I got my hands on a new Moog, and that was really cool. That's how I recorded Don't Hold Back. And then when I went to Japan, I went to there's two absolutely incredible synthesizer shops there, and one is called 5G, which is untouchable with this, and then the other one's called Ekigoya, which is amazing.
Do 5G have your drum machine?
No, no one has it. I'm actually in regular contact with the original guy that used to make them.
Yeah.
Back in 1982, I ring him up on the phone. He's amazing, this Mexican guy, and we just chat, and I tell him what's wrong with it, and he helps me fix it. So,
oh wow.
Yeah, but no, it kind of began then, and then the GFC happened, and.
GFC, sorry.
Global financial crisis.
Oh.
And the Australian dollar, because our government gave us money, so then our economy was cool.
Us.
As in Australians.
Ah, okay.
And so, but then
maybe just you and your sex officers.
No, just Australians in general, and our Australian dollar, which is usually called obviously the Pacific peso, all of a sudden was the same as the US dollar, and things that were incredibly unaffordable became affordable. So I bought every dream synth that I wanted.
You're Australian golden age.
Yeah, and then now it's gone back down again, and I've got these synths, and they're just like better than money in the bank.
Yeah.
The only problem is they always break down. If you don't use them, they break down.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So I think you favour the hard synths over the soft equivalent.
Yeah, it's just I can pick them. I think you can pick them, and it's just I don't know. There's something satisfying about having this thing in front of you, and you're thinking the history behind it.
Yeah.
What's been played on it before. I mean, I've got all the soft synths on my computer, and you click them, they're open. I don't know, it just doesn't do it for me. Absolutely. And there's too many choices as well, and like there's presets and stuff, and I kind of like getting a sound and then and then really tweaking it to make it my own little thing.
Yeah.
So, that's probably the satisfaction that comes from there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in terms of inspirations, then, I mean, obviously Alan Vega, Prince, and a lot of yacht rock, Italo disco, things like that. Are there any sort of surprises in the barrel there which people wouldn't really necessarily pick up?
Yeah, there's heaps of there's like lots of Jan Hammer, and people think of him as from Miami Vice. There's actually not before that. There's he's a famous jazz pianist, and there's an album he's with Elvin Jones, who was John Coltrane's drummer.
Okay.
And it's this album called Elvin is on the Mountain, and it's just incredible. Jan Hammer's playing Mini Moog, and he's probably one of the best pitch benders in the business. There's also he's on an album called Timeless with John Abercrombie and Jack DeJohnette, which is an ECM album.
Yeah.
So this is really nerdy.
Right.
And he's playing some of the sounds he's getting on that. So I come from a little bit of a jazz background, so I'm approaching it from that. There's lots of hidden ones. There's a few tricks from the Bee Gees I usually nick when you're using the Mini Moog for bass lines and stuff like that.
Just a quick one on the Bee Gees. Do you consider them Australian?
No. No, I was talking to someone about this just recently.
God,
no.
What is that?
No.
Have you been to Redcliffe?
No.
There's a street that just has Bee Gees murals and plays Bee Gees in the street 24 hours a day.
Right.
It's a sight to behold. I recommend it. You should check it out because there's I mean, if I did there and said like, well, the Bee Gees are American, I may not have made it out alive.
Yeah, no, they're not Australian. I'm not going to take them.
Right, now you're in Europe, you're safe.
Yeah. No, and there's also obviously like Vangelis is something that's like and there's a few deep. The last 2 years I've been really getting into a lot of the Japanese minimalism, and Hiroshi Yoshimura.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So that's like there's the album It's on my phone. It's my air. When I get on the plane, I always play it. I fall asleep.
I was wondering actually, because it feels like very much like a touring.
It is. It's. There's also another album. I stumbled across it and gave it to a friend of mine, and then he gave it to another friend of ours, Alex Cameron, and apparently they were playing it on their tour bus over and over. It's Yoshio Suzuki, who's an old jazz bass player, and it's funny because a friend of mine I went to university with plays in with Suzuki all the time as well. So it's kind of cool. So there's a lot of weird. It's not. I actually don't listen to like the real '80s like pop dribble. It's like the production's there, but it's not that interesting to me because it anything that didn't really stick out. Like there was obviously the '80s is obviously one-hit wonders.
Yes.
And so anything that made it past that, there's probably something more there. And so there's something in the production, in the songwriting.
Yeah.
There's. You know what I'm talking about. So it's like. Yeah. I think. And the Alan Vega stuff is amazing.
Right.
As well. So it's like Tonetta. I don't know if you know of Tonetta.
No, I don't.
I think you can check that out.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
that's really DIY. He's kind of a sad guy. Like his wife. He had a messy divorce. Lived in his parents' basement when he was in his 40s and recorded. It's the same keyboard with the same drum beat. He makes the same song over and over, but the lyrics are just so fragile and beautiful and yeah.
It's interesting you focus on his story as well. Do you feel that the story is important to the music?
I think so, yeah. I mean, it's like anything. Like like Sean Connery is not a secret agent, but James Bond is.
Is he?
Yeah, is he? Although the Sean Connery story of him, I always look up the Wikipedia of him getting into the fight when he was a footballer is pretty.
Oh really? What was this?
I think he's got some story where he when he was really young, got rolled by some guys. There was like 8 guys, and he beat the shit out of all of them. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. That's why Sean Connery is who he is.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, I think in music, like presenting, for me, and I can't, for me, I think it's not building an aesthetic, but it's creating a dialogue behind what's happening and giving it some context outside of. Coming from a jazz world as well, you get a lot of guys. You jump up on stage, and the music's very insular, and it's
right.
Technically and musically.
Playing for the other jazz musicians.
Yeah, you're playing for the other bitter jazz musicians that are like, I could do a much better job.
Exactly.
It's a very insular experience. Like it's fun. Like watching like experimental improvised music.
Yes.
Is so boring.
Right.
But playing it is really fun. So
absolutely.
It's kind of like cooking and eating. Like I'd rather eat than cook. I mean, cooking's exciting, but yeah. So
it's almost like the opposite of that, though, because the chef may be improvising. They may have celery and
that's probably a bad analogy. but
nonetheless,
yeah. So there's I don't know. I like the idea, even with like something as simple as how you dress on stage. Like in being from another jazz city, you just turn up on stage and look like shit and play and expect everyone to like it. It's like I was playing with a really great Australian jazz singer for years. And we had to all wear suits and like in between every song he'd have a little rave and it was like that kind of old jazz singer vibe and I was really into it. I thought this is like, and the audience were always, I mean they're obviously a lot old, they were 20, 30 years older than I was, so I was getting a bit like it's kind of a bit weird being around all these people, but they loved it and it was like a captivating, entertaining, and the guy was a motherfucker with his singing, so it was completely legit and it was, for me, it was a whole package that that was fun to be part of. So this. I mean, your image is incredibly striking. I mean, it's very much a part of. I mean, I can think of multiple people who've literally seen your album cover and have then gone on to listen to your music, which in the streaming age is more rare than ever. Yeah.
So has that been a cultivated thing?
Not really. I mean,
you've always been a dapper gentleman.
Well, how can I explain it? I started performing in Donny when I stepped down from playing jazz. I was at an incredibly high level in Australia and I played with everyone and I felt no ownership over the music.
Yeah.
And I don't really take myself seriously. Like I'm deadly serious about what I'm doing.
Right.
But as a person day to day, like this is me.
Yeah.
So it gave me confidence doing this and it kind of like, and it was at a time when I started doing it of kind of shoegazing, surf rock, and everyone was like, or like, white guys pretending to be like Mississippi blues, Delta blues guys, and that was seen as legitimate music. And
yes,
I had
it's very authentic.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing's more authentic than a 25-year-old white Australian guy singing the blues.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I had a great. There's a great singer in Australia, a musician, writer, artist in Australia. This guy called Jeffrey O'Connor.
Okay.
And a friend of mine, and we were chatting about it, and he uses a lot of. He's kind of the same aesthetic as well, and so he uses a lot of synthesizers. He's a really skinny guy with glasses, and he's softly spoken.
Yeah.
And he was getting a bit of shtick for using synths, and he's like, I don't understand, because people will say, well, synthesizers aren't authentic. I was like, well, what do you mean by that? Like, how is that less authentic than a 21-year-old guy strumming a guitar, singing about down-home blues? And I was like, there's something as particular, like for instance, a Mini Moog D, which is made in 1972 or 76, is still used. It's been used since then. It's still used in today's music. So it's, to my mind, it's an authentic instrument. It's so expressive. So it's like utilizing those things, I think, makes it still an authentic experience. And so for me as well, and I've gone a bit off track. Using those, using that aesthetic in the music has also given it a bit of confidence for me to do that and fun, excitement. So
Okay. I have actually noticed whenever you do shred on stage, you almost can't hear the music from the reaction of the audience to that moment when it happens. And I'm really curious because you brought a saxophonist on this tour, right? So, I mean, do you often play as a solo artist with other musicians?
So I usually play with the full band in Australia. It's been a bit of a budget thing.
Oh, no.
No. Over the last few years, we've built up so we can. So we just did which is a big thing for Australia. We just did 7 states. No,
I used to live in Australia.
Yeah, we did like Melbourne, Brisbane, Sydney, Perth, and then Adelaide. Sorry, Adelaide. By myself. But yeah, that was a big thing to take a band to Perth. Like it's so expensive and so.
Right. It might as well be another continent.
Yeah, and exactly, and with the sax as well, it's just an easier way to tour. But yeah, it's.
So did you feel like an affinity with the sax? I mean, it's almost like as if when you're picking your band, like picking a favourite child, you're almost saying saxophonist.
Yeah, well, it was funny because in Australia, nobody had heard of sax in kind of indie for ages, and
MH3 then.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden everyone's using sax after a few years. Yeah. But no, I think it was like and it's funny because Dan is is a really accomplished saxophonist and gets up and plays like. You can get sax up and go, it's a sax, and be really cheesy and play a blues scale over and over. But it's just like that's not that line of like I don't want to go down that kind of pastiche let's just do 80s for the sake of 80s. It's got nothing to do with that. It's just the particular instruments and palettes I picked at the time, and so the sax is like a great instrument to express yourself with as well. You're breathing through it. It's like a voice. So and like people don't hear great sax anymore with it here. It's played well, so it's like I think it was a good way to.
So will we be hearing actually full blown? Full blown. That was unintentional fun. But yeah, we're going to be hearing that in its essence in the best way to hear.
Of course, I think so. Yeah. You're hearing a real badass sax.
Nice. Excellent. And and. In terms of the set lists that you're playing, do you draw from everything? Also, Weekend of Dummies.
Yeah.
To have a collaboration album as your third album.
Yeah, that was weird. That kind of happened by accident. That was like I went for an Australian Arts Council grant, and I was like, it's be kind of fun to do. And then I got it, and I was like, oh shit. And I kind of don't count it as a Donny album.
So is it like Brewster's Millions, the film?
Yeah. almost. Spend your money to get. What do you have to do? Spend all?
Spend like $100 million or something
to get the rest. No, it was kind of like it was all my friends doing it, and I thought it'd be fun, and it was fun. It was really hard. The hardest thing was trying to coordinate people's time schedules and emails and stuff like that. And we played it once, and it was fun. We played it a few times, and I didn't think before I did it. It's fun, but I should have made it as a third album.
I see what you mean.
And I was hoping I had a follow-up one really quickly, but it took a while to,
because it was a while.
It was because I went like 2011, 12, 14, and then 16, 17, so,
So it's just the fact that you were spending more time to make sure that the Don was.
Yeah, I think so. I pretty much straight after the album, after Weekend at Donny's, I wrote Working Out, and then
okay.
A few other bits and pieces happened. I probably got busy touring or doing other people's stuff, or I was trying to write music for ads or some bullshit like that. Try and make a bit of money. It's very hard to make a living in Australia, but and I think the timing was right. And this one I just spent so much time because I wanted it to be right. And in hindsight, like it was a good decision just to hold back. And in Australia, like I kept my head above water by doing a few shows in here and there and releasing a single. Yeah. And I played in other people's bands. I was in Jack Lady's band, Sarah Blasco's band. So people would kind of still know that I was around. And
I see.
Australia's a very small place, as you know, so it's like it's easy to remind people that you're here.
Yeah. So do you feel like any particular affinity with Italy specifically? I mean, the Don obviously has mafioso connotations.
It's my mother's Italian as well, so growing up with that, I've been taking a few holidays in Italy, and I love Italo. I love how Italians are so daggy. I remember growing up and just my uncle gave me his bass, and it's really cool because it's probably the same color as his couch.
Oh,
and
nice.
he probably only picked it because he was Italian. He went, yeah, that's a good color. And I'm really glad he did. So
yeah. So and I've noticed as well in this conversation, because it's very hard to work out what is true and what is not from your backstory.
Of course.
And one thing I find particularly fascinating is that there's one particular interview with the Beat from a long time ago, which I've noticed in subsequent interviews, people ask you questions on, and I'm always wondering, do they realise where the truth begins and where it ends? And is that something you're intentionally kind of perpetuating?
All I can say is I put some stuff up on MySpace and we kind of had to run with it. This is like years ago.
Yeah.
And, like, it's always funny when you'll get like an interview and it's like an intern that's a 21-year-old intern.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, so tell us about your father. And you're like, right. And you're like, okay, I've done this interview before, so now you just say, I've done this interview. Let's talk about something else.
Right.
But, I think it's, I'm 30. 30.
Yeah.
So,
I know that feeling. Yes.
I grew up with when the internet was nothing but fart jokes and porn. So that's that kind of. Anytime you go to a games arcade and you get your high score, everyone's name is like arse or like boob or something. So it's like that's my take on the internet. Unfortunately, people my age. So that's where I'm coming from.
Good way to be. Yeah. No, that's fantastic. And in terms of the future, then, I mean, are we going to have to wait 3 years before?
No, I've got to get cracking. I've written a whole bunch of stuff. I've tried to squeeze it in this year. When I get back, I'll take a week off or something, and then I've got to get straight back into the studio and get writing again. Yeah, it's been amazing what's happened this year. It feels like it's only been 4 months ago, and it feels like it's been a year ago. So
4 months ago.
Well, July, 4 or 5 months, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's so much has happened, and it's been exciting for me because obviously with Australia, like it's very limited how often you can perform. You can only do 2 headline tours a year, and that's with an album cycle as well.
Yeah,
so
and then every single show is a flight in between.
Yeah, so you're sitting on your hands the rest of the year going, oh gosh, I wish I could do something. And with one particular radio station in Australia, if you're not on it, you're screwed.
Oh, which one?
So
who knows?
And that's fine. Like I'm really proud. I did my last tour. I did just a couple of weeks ago. We were getting venues with like 750 selling out. So for me, that was like it's a really nice place to be. And it's like I had no help from anyone really.
Right.
And that's great. It's like I've worked hard to build up a fan base and an audience.
Yeah.
The thing with Australia is if you do something overseas and then you come back, people are like, oh well, you must be good. So that kind of helps as well. So the more I come to Europe, the more I can be at home. But and was that
like an inspiration for Konnichiwa? It was like, guys, let me to Japan.
Yeah, I've been to Japan a lot. So that just happens. No. It's I have a real affinity with that. One of my best friends from university was Japanese, and then I went over when he went back and played some concerts with him, and it's great. But no. What was I saying? There's no ill will towards Australia at all. I mean, it is what it is. It's a beautiful place to live. It's so chilled and laid back, and It's very small. That's the first thing I've since I've come.
It's simultaneously small and huge.
Small in communities and
right,
scenes, and that's cool. Like, that's great, and it's nice to go back and kind of. But for me, Europe's just this beautiful big open sea, and there's so many little stops to make, and I think for me it's like the right place to be in Target, and so I want to be coming back and interacting and with audiences over here. So that's why this is my third visit this year.
Yeah,
I'll be over a lot more next year. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's amazing to hear.
Yeah.
Well, Donny, thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure.
It's been a real insight. It's been really good to meet you. It's been really good to explore the Donny that we don't always get to see as well, through a mirror.
Yes.
And I'm really looking forward to the show tonight as well. We may not get a full band, but we'll have a saxophonist.
You'll have the hot saxophonist.
And we'll have lots of pitch bends, I'm sure.
Yes,
and everything.
of course.
Yeah, amazing.
Fantastic.
No, police squad.
Yes.